Welcome to Alaska Weather. My name is Holloway with the National Weather Service for January 11th, 2022. I have a couple options for you. 1-800 number gets you through a menu system, and weather.gov/Alaska, and you can / that to Anchorage, Juneau, or Fairbanks to help you further refine your weather search. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at the email listed at the bottom of the page. For the hazardous weather, we only have an advisory out for wind chills, mainly up there near the Beaufort Sea coast, and that's for wind chills to anywhere between 40 and 55 below, and that's going to be going out until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Otherwise, across the state, not much else going on. The state has been through some couple weeks of pretty hazardous weather, so it's nice to have a little break there. Looking at the satellite image for today, you can see some cloud cover, especially associated with low near ADAC, and there's another low analyzed just south of Sand Point with an occluded front between those systems, and that occluded front then stretches out into the Gulf of Alaska. And you can see that system moving north towards the Panhandle, and then some overrunning precipitation with some clouds and light snowfall across the interior. Fairbanks is getting a little bit of light snow, and Northway as well, and that extends down through the Yukon Territory. What's this look like on the surface map? There's those two lows I described, 973 millibar low near the central Aleutians, and another low just south of Alaska Peninsula, 988 millibar low there, with an occluded front slowly dissipating. Otherwise, high pressure ridge over the interior near the Alcan border, 1005 millibars there, some light snow showers through the interior, and some snow showers across the north slope, and some fog also associated with that. Otherwise, tonight's weather, going to look at those couple lows further dissipating, further filling going on there. 981 millibar low there in the central Aleutians, 994 millibar low near the Bristol Bay region. Otherwise, a trough or stationary front through the interior, spreading some light to moderate snow showers, nothing major there. A couple of high pressure systems analyzed in the Yukon Territory. Otherwise, some light snow showers along the north slope. For Wednesday's weather, looking at again that continued stationary front bringing some snow showers through the interior and along the Yukon Basin, Yukon River, and otherwise that weakening low near the Aleutians. But the next system does come into picture there, 974 millibar low with an occluded front in the western Gulf, and that will be heading north, and another low over just south of the Alaska Panhandle. But we'll be bringing some light to moderate snow showers across the coastal mountains, otherwise some rain showers at the low elevations. For Thursday weather, there's that low 972 millibar low now just south of Kodiak Island, weakening occluded front out ahead of that system. Moderate to heavy rain and even some snow showers, especially in Prince William Sound, eastern Kenai Peninsula, Kenai Mountains there. Otherwise, some snow showers moderate to light across the Alaska range, and also some moderate snow showers there in the northeast Gulf Coast and spreading into the northern Panhandle. Otherwise, some rain showers coming into the southern end of the Panhandle. Otherwise, some light snow showers through the interior, and snow showers down through the Bering Sea, and mixed precipitation just south of the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. For low temperatures, Wednesday morning, starting with the southern mainland and Panhandle, looking at 37 at Ketchikan, 38 at Sitka, 35 in Juneau, 31 in Haines, 30 in Yakutat, 26 in Valdez, 33 in Seward, 26 in Anchorage, 19 in Kenai, 30 in Homer, 34 in Kodiak. Then we move over to Iliamna, 26, King Salmon, 28, 11 in Lime Village, 21 up there in McGrath. 21 in Talkeetna, 0 in McGrath. Then looking for Wednesday afternoon, 42 in Ketchikan, 42 in Sitka as well, 37 in Juneau, 35 in Yakutat, 30 in Valdez, 30 in Anchorage, 28 in Soldotna, 35 in Homer, 42 in Kodiak, 25 in Iliamna, or 25 in Lime Village, and 15 in McGrath, 27 in Talkeetna. Low temperatures Thursday morning, looking at 38 Ketchikan, 35 in Sitka, 28 in Juneau, 26 in Yakutat, 24 in Valdez, 24 in Anchorage, 28 in Homer, 34 in Kodiak, Iliamna 24, King Salmon 25, Talkeetna 17. High temperatures Thursday afternoon, looking at 42 in Ketchikan, 43 in Sitka, 37 in Juneau, 36 in Yakutat, 32 in Valdez, 32 in Anchorage, 32 in Kenai, 38 in Homer, 44 in Kodiak, 36 in King Salmon, 27 in Talkeetna, and 14 in McGrath. Moving up to the North Slope and interior, we're looking at 0 at Fairbanks, minus 10 in Fort Yukon, minus 15 in Arctic Village, minus 29 in Dead Horse, minus 19 in Ukqiavik, minus 10 Point Hope, minus 6 in Nome, minus 4 in Galena, minus 3 in Tanana. For Wednesday afternoon, looking at high temperatures at 12 in Fairbanks, 0 in Fort Yukon, 6 in Eagle, minus 9 in Arctic Village, minus 21 in Dead Horse, minus 15 in Ukqiavik, minus 8 in Point Hope, minus 1 in Nome, 2 in Galena, and 6 in Tanana. For overnight lows Thursday morning, looking at 3 in Fairbanks, minus 1 in Eagle, minus 5 in Fort Yukon, minus 8 in Arctic Village, minus 21 in Akatuvik Pass, minus 30 in Dead Horse, minus 23 in Ukqiavik, minus 10 in Point Hope, minus 6 in Nome, minus 4 in Galena, minus 1 in Tanana. For high temperatures Thursday afternoon, looking at 10 in Fairbanks, 2 in Eagle, 0 in Fort Yukon, minus 9 in Arctic Village, minus 27 Dead Horse, minus 18 Ukqiavik, minus 2 in Point Hope, 8 in Nome, 7 in Galena, 4 in Tanana. And for down through the southwest, Alaska Peninsula Aleutians, for Wednesday morning, looking at 11 in Aniak, 11 in Bethel, 9 in Aniak, 23 in Dillingham, 30 in Cold Bay, 33 in Dutch Harbor, 31 in Shemya, St. Paul 23. For high temperatures Wednesday afternoon, 21 in Bethel, 22 in Aniak, 29 in Dillingham, 36 in Cold Bay, Dutch Harbor 38, 33 in Shemya, and St. Paul with 30. For low temperatures Thursday morning, looking at 14 in Bethel, 14 in Aniak, 24 in Dillingham, 30 in Cold Bay, 36 in Dutch Harbor, 31 in Shemya, 20 in St. Paul. For high temperatures Thursday afternoon, looking at 21 in Bethel, 22 in Aniak, 32 in Dillingham, 35 in Cold Bay, 38 in Dutch Harbor, 33 in Shemya, and 25 in St. Paul. For the CPC 6-10 day outlook for January 17th through the 21st, looking at warm temperatures coming into the southern mainland with the storm track from the south bringing in some warmer temperatures across the region, so tilts towards good chances of above normal conditions for the southern mainland again across the panhandle. Otherwise some cooling tilts towards for the north slope with looking at precipitation for the 6 to 10 day, looking at above normal tilts for precipitation across much of the southern mainland, near normal conditions there over the panhandle, and below normal tilts along the north slope. But again, with the storm track coming from the south, looking at warm and moist conditions across much of the southern mainland, and some of that warmth and precipitation extends over into the panhandle.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the aviation forecast, starting with the flying weather for Wednesday morning, we'll have a stationary front through the interior bringing some IFR conditions in there. Otherwise, a weak low transitioning north from the Alaska Peninsula up into the Bristol Bay region will bring some IFR conditions down through much of the Cook Inlet region and North Gulf Coast, otherwise some troughiness down through the Panhandle, bringing some IFR conditions down there, and again some IFR conditions out along the North Slope. For Wednesday afternoon, IFR conditions hang out along that stationary front across the interior. That continues through Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, some weakening troughing over the Gulf Coast region, bringing some IFR conditions there, but otherwise some improving conditions to marginal VFR flying, and that extends over through the Aleutians. For Thursday morning, we're going to be looking at IFR conditions continuing through the interior, otherwise with another system coming in from the south into the Alaska Peninsula, some IFR conditions down through the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay region, and some improving conditions over there in the Panhandle with continued IFR conditions mainly over the northern part of the Panhandle. For Thursday afternoon, again with that system coming north, IFR conditions spread out through much of the Gulf Coast region, and that also extends over to the central and northern part of the Panhandle, otherwise northern Gulf region. Get some IFR conditions there. Some improving conditions across the interior and marginal conditions out along the North Slope. For past conditions on Wednesday, Anaktuvik marginal decreasing to IFR. Again, much the same there. Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR conditions through Alaska Range, and that is also depicted there in rainy. Windy IFR conditions, especially across the southern entrance. You could see some marginal conditions in the north entrance. Otherwise, Isabel marginal for the most part, but look for IFR conditions on the south entrance. And for Mentasta, marginal, improving the possibility of VFR conditions during the afternoon. For Tanita IFR, improving to marginal there. And again on Wednesday. For Portage, IFR conditions for the most part, but look for marginal conditions as you get out, pop into the western entrance. Chilkoot and White, IFR conditions for that. For freezing levels, a little bit of a elevated freezing level there over the portions of the Panhandle. Otherwise, the surface freezing level cuts across from the Panhandle, across the northern Gulf, down through the Alaska Peninsula, out through just north of the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. For ice conditions, just isolated moderate today, between 4,000 and 12,000 feet over there in the Panhandle, otherwise between 2,000 and 8,000 feet across much of the mainland, and between 2,000 and 10,000 feet out there in the Aleutians. For jet stream, low analyzed up there at the 30,000 foot level, with northerly flow out there across the tip of the western Aleutians with 110 knots over there. Otherwise, some westerly flow across the Gulf, 70, 80 knots coming into the Panhandle, under 110 knots as you get into the central Panhandle, and that extends over into Canada. Otherwise, light and variable across much of the mainland. For 9,000 foot winds on Wednesday, again, there's the lows across much of the Gulf region, even a low just south of the Alaska Panhandle. Otherwise, some northerly flow coming into the Gulf with 40 knots in some of those areas. Otherwise, switching over to more northerly flow as you get into the Aleutians at around 40, and again 40 knots in a more westerly flow across the central interior. For 3,000 foot winds on Wednesday, good, again some vertically stacked lows in the Gulf region, counterclockwise flow with that low just south of Alaska Peninsula, 55 to 60 knots there. Otherwise, light and variable across much of the mainland, and more northerly flow as you come down through the Chukchi Sea and then down through the northern Bering Sea. For turbulence on Wednesday, looking at surface to 6,000 feet in portions of the Alaska Range and portions of South Central. Otherwise, surface to 4,000 feet out there in the Seward Peninsula, and surface to 4,000 feet out there in the Aleutians. Otherwise, Panhandle will see some uneventful turbulence in their area.
On March 11, 2011, a powerful tsunami hit Japan,
destroying cities and villages. As the water receded back into the ocean, it pulled what remained of buildings, cars, boats, and homes along with it. Scrap metals, plastics, and objects of all shapes and sizes either sank near the shore or floated away. In the days that followed, large masses of floating debris could easily be seen by satellite imagery and aerial photos. In the wake of this disaster, NOAA is assessing the potential impact that the debris may have on U.S. shores. So, where will this debris go, and when will it get there? To help answer those questions, scientists are using computer models to estimate the debris' path, using its starting location in the tsunami zone and historical weather and ocean conditions. The findings are that some debris could pass near or wash ashore in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands as early as this winter. Debris may also approach the west coast of the United States in 2013 and potentially circle back to the main Hawaiian Islands in 2014. But scientists caution that there are limitations to what computer models can tell us, now that the debris has moved out of satellite view, and with currents and winds in the Pacific constantly changing, there is no guarantee that the debris will stay on the predicted path. Items will sink along the way, or break up and disperse in many directions. Despite these unknowns, NOAA and its partners are collecting data, assessing possible impacts, and making preparations in case debris does wash ashore. The 2011 tsunami in Japan reminds us that the devastation that happens on land can also become a marine debris issue at sea.
Imagine all of this underwater. In a major tsunami, it could happen. In this part of Washington state, it's happened before, hundreds of years ago. Sometime in the future, it will likely happen again. But we can be ready. If a tsunami strikes, this school will provide a place for people to ride it out above the waves.
We're in Westport, Washington, and right behind me is the very first tsunami vertical evacuation center in the United States.
This is an emergency. Please run to the nearest exit.
Let's go.
Go to the stair tower and proceed up the stairs.
Tsunamis are a potential hazard for low-lying coastal areas. That's why many coastal communities have plans in place to get people to safety, high ground or inland, where they can be beyond the reach of a tsunami. Often there are signs showing where to go and where to gather. Most tsunamis are caused by underwater earthquakes along subduction zones, where two of Earth's plates collide and one is forced under the other. Westport and other Pacific Northwest coastal communities are especially at risk because one of these zones lies just offshore. It's called the Cascadia Subduction Zone. An earthquake here caused a tsunami in 1700 that flooded shores as far away as Japan. Experts say it's just a matter of time before it happens again. Since the subduction zone is so close, a tsunami like the one in 1700 could strike before people in some low-lying areas could get to high ground or inland. And Westport doesn't have a lot of high ground or easy routes inland.
If we get an earthquake or a tsunami, we're going to get a lot of water in the area really quickly, and we needed a place to go. So our community built this brand new school, and above our gym and cafeteria, we have a roof, and so the idea is that we'll get all of our students up, and anybody from the community who needs to get up, they can get up there as well.
Ocosta Elementary School might seem like a normal school, but look more closely. It's engineered to withstand monster waves. Tsunami vertical evacuation shelters must be able to resist the powerful forces that a tsunami brings. hydrodynamic, buoyant, hydrostatic, and debris impact forces and strong currents. They're also designed to help people get to safety quickly.
There are 4 big staircases on each corner of the building, and each one of those staircases is 8 feet wide, and we can get the whole school evacuated in about 4.5 minutes.
Everybody should be at a 0.
On the roof of the building, there is water and food and buckets and shelters and tarps and blankets and different things so that we can be up there for 2, 3, maybe 4 days while we wait for rescue.
You can go to the top and you know you'll be safe. It feels really nice to have a special building because you feel protected.
This community decided that a tsunami evacuation center was important because they didn't have anywhere to go, and they decided to use their money to build the building. The additional cost is anywhere between 10 and 20% of the actual building cost itself, and that's really a sound investment for a lot of protection. You may be there a while, but you're safe and you're secure, and that's the most important thing.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge. Extensive ice growth through much of the eastern Bering Sea and northern Bering Sea, with continued ice growth in a southwesterly fashion, even ice growing around St. Matthew Island. Also some ice extensively in Cook Inlet and down through Bristol Bay. For marine forecast, starting on Wednesday for southeast, inside waters generally from a variable direction, 10 to 15 with seas as high as 3 feet. For the outside waters, winds generally from a southeasterly direction, 10 to 15 with seas as high as 10 feet. So look for small craft advisories there on Wednesday. And for Thursday, increased winds, but starting with the inside waters, winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 35 with gusts of 40 there in Stevens Passage, but otherwise seas as high as 5 feet. Outside waters, winds generally from the southeastern direction, 35 to 40, so gale force winds there with seas as high as 16 feet. For Wednesday's marine forecast for South Central and Prince William Sound, winds generally from an easterly direction to 20, seas as high as 4 feet. For the Gulf region, winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 25, with seas as high as 9 feet. And for Thursday, increased winds, but Prince William Sound continues out of the east at 30, with seas as high as 7 feet. For the Gulf region, winds generally from the southeasterly direction, 35 to 40. So look for gale force winds there and seas as high as 20 feet. For the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a northerly direction, 25 to 40, with seas as high as 11 feet there near the Barren Islands, with seas as high as 11 feet. And for Wednesday's marine forecast, Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, winds around Kodiak Island, winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 25, with seas as high as 10 feet. And for the south side Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the east at 25 with seas as high as 10 feet. And north side Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a easterly direction to 15. And for Thursday, looking for winds around Kodiak Island generally from a easterly direction, 30 to 35, with seas as high as 22 feet. So look for possible gale force winds there. On the south side Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a northwesterly direction to 30, with seas as high as 17 feet. And for the north side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a northerly direction to 25, with seas as high as 6 feet just south of the ice edge. For Wednesday's marine forecast for Aleutian Chain, looking for winds generally from a northerly direction, 15 to 30, with seas as high as 16 feet out there in the western Aleutians. And for Thursday, looking at winds generally from a northerly direction to 20 to 25 with seas as high as 12 feet over there by Alaska. For West Coast, Wednesday, looking at winds generally from a northerly direction, 25 to 35 with seas as high as 12 feet just south of St. Matthew Island, and around St. Paul and St. George, winds generally from a northeasterly direction with seas as high as 7 feet. For Thursday's marine forecast, looking at winds generally from a northerly direction, 20 to 30 with seas as high as 10 feet. They're just on the south side of that ice edge. For Wednesday's marine forecast for the Arctic coast, up there along the Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from the northerly direction, 10 to 20, and then down through Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from the north at 15 to 20, and down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from northerly direction, 20 to 30. And for Thursday, along the Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from a northerly direction to 10, and down through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a northeasterly direction, 20 to 35, and down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from the north at 30. For tonight's weather, a couple low pressure systems over the Bristol Bay region and Aleutians, with a stationary front through the interior, bringing some snow showers there, light to moderate across much of the interior. And for Wednesday's weather, we're going to be watching another system coming in from the south, approaching Alaska Peninsula, 974 millibar there with an occluder front. Otherwise, continued snow showers through the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.